Who wants to live to 100 years old? Anybody? Put up your hand if you don't want to live to 100 years old. Who doesn't want, why do you want to live to 100 years old? Stand up, who's that? Explain. Give him a mic. I want to know why. Huh? You got so much to explore, but do you want to live to 100? You want to live to 100. Who doesn't want to live to 100? Everybody wants to live long? All right, who's that? Let's talk to Riddhi before we... Do you not want to live to 100?
No,
Why?
Prashant. I don't think it's the world for me. Like, the disruptions that are coming, I'm not confident enough that I'll make it up to 100.
Right, very interesting. All right. So we're going to be talking about anti-aging and longevity. And Sunil kind of touched on some of these themes, so it's a beautiful segue to what we're going to be talking about here. So I'm not going to do a very long preamble here, but what I'm going to do is ask each of our panelists to kind of very quickly introduce themselves, and then I'll come around and do another question. So just your name, your background, and your interest either in anti-aging or longevity. What got you interested in this space?
Okay, so I'm Hemant Kumar. Currently I'm working in 𝗹𝗶𝘃𝗶𝘁𝗶.
A bit closer, please.
Okay, so I am working in 𝗹𝗶𝘃𝗶𝘃𝗶 as an associate professor. So I started my journey from 𝗪𝗵𝘁. So in 2006 and 7, I started my work, and there I was working in mainly different type of pain, neuropathic pain and inflammation. Followed by that, I worked in TCG Life Sciences, that is in Kolkata, and I worked around 1.5 years there. So after working for close to 4.5 years in industry, I moved to South Korea. I did my PhD from South Korea, did my postdoc there, and I stayed there for almost 10 years. So after that, I came back to India and I joined 𝗹𝗶𝘃𝗶𝘃𝗶. So my major research area is spinal cord and intervertebral degeneration. So mainly lower back pain or the pain which is caused by aging is also one of my major area. So this is the brief introduction about me. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah, very good afternoon to all of you. I am really glad to be here. I am Deepak Agrawal. Under the brand name biohacking, I am the CEO of 𝗵𝗶𝘃𝗶𝘆 Health Tech. So, where we focus applying longevity science into practical health strategies, my interest in longevity comes various factors. So, here I am doing longevity, and my interest started from a very simple question: how do we not just live longer, but live stronger for longer? Over the years, I have been deeply involved in biohacking, metabolic health optimization, and performance science. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Mitesh. I have a lot of hats. One of the hats I have is working as a venture partner for 𝗹𝗶𝘃𝗶𝘆. I'm also interested in AI, which we'll talk about later. So my interest in longevity is, and actually my career started looking at how AI can be used to discover new indications. And one of the indications that we were looking at was sarcopenia, which is a disease of the aging. So that's where my interests are.
Hello everybody. I think most of you know me here. I'm 𝗵𝗁𝗍 his𝗴𝗲𝗏. My background is in chemical biology. Over the last 2 decades, I've worked across therapeutic areas and target classes. I love philosophy, I love science, and therefore I love to also look at all biological mechanisms and also aging.
Thank you.
I think you all have heard enough of me, but my name is 𝗟𝗏 Desai. I'm a lawyer, and my interest in longevity comes from the fact that, scientifically I'm not worried that we can live longer, but what are the political and the ecological consequences of living longer? That's my real area of interest in longevity.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. 𝗪𝗏. I'm a dentist. However, I would like to think of myself as an enabler for all the science and technology that our city needs. So now we run a full-fledged pathology lab, a diagnostic center, and now a longevity and recovery center. More than that, I identify myself as a mom desperate to make the world a better place for my children and their friends, and hoping that they have better facilities to make them realize that their health and destiny is definitely in their own hands. So, yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What a star-studded panel we have. Dr. Hemant, all right, before we kind of, this is a wide-ranging subject, but before we kind of go into that, can you tell us a little bit about the science of aging and how it works at the human level, at the cellular level, and also at a genetic level? How do we age? Why do we age? If you could kind of give us a few thoughts on that.
So there are many theories about this. One of the most common theory is about the shortening of the telomeres. So if we have to understand the basic biology of about telomeres, let's see about the shoelace. We have a shoelace, and in the shoelace, in the end of the shoelace, you have a plastic caps, and telomeres are like same, which are present in the chromosome. They are the end of the chromosome, and whenever a cell divide, the telomere gets shortened every time. Every division, they make it shorter. So, and kind of theory of aging, it's supposed that if we prevent or stabilize the telomere, we can prevent aging. That is one of the theory, maybe not 100% true. Second thing is, most of the changes which are happening is because of the inflammaging. So inflammaging is a kind of phenomena when we have basal level of inflammation is high, like you have higher CRP, C-reactive protein in the body, higher interleukin-6, which are much higher than the basal level, and they are present throughout. They are kind chronically present. Then next theory says that if we have higher HbA1c over the period of time, higher insulin sensitivity, then it is one of the major cause of aging. Then another case, muscle mass. How much muscle we are losing when we age. That is, we call it sarcopenia. So if we have to summarize this, the aging theory is diverse, and there are diverse pathways which are involved. One of the most common is mTOR pathway, which is the most famous pathway which is currently being used. You have drug like rapamycin, metformin, and also some quercetin, fisetin, which are showing some promise. But I will not say that they are working fine, because as of now we don't have any clinical evidence that they are working in humans. These all are preclinical or experimental data.
And how do these two drugs, rapamycin and metformin, how do they work in terms of anti-aging?
So rapamycin is mainly, if you see, it is used for transplant. Mostly it is that purpose, but in case of aging, it is inhibiting the mTOR receptor pathway. Mechanistic receptor for rapamycin, that is mTOR. So if you see overall as a receptor mTOR, it is believed that mTORs play a crucial role when we are growing. Till the age of 20, mTOR pathway need to be activated, so that it is important for the growth. It is important for the protein. It is important for the overall growth of the human being. But after around 30 to 40 years, it need to be suppressed. So rapamycin can be given only after 40 years. It cannot be given early age, and it should be given only at lower doses, that is 5 mg once a week. That is how it is working in and metformin, most of us know, it is a main drug which is used in diabetes. It reduces common inflammation, which is inflammaging. It also reduces the other main hallmark which is linked with aging.
Thank you very much. I'd like to bring in 𝗟𝗏, who's kind of a world expert specialist in DNA damage. I'm kind of setting you up. Can you kind of give your thoughts on kind of at a genetic level and also at a cellular level, kind of how cells age and die, and essentially can we intercept that process and live longer?
Yeah, so aging, I'll first come to aging. You know, it's like a car, you know, your car battery. So essentially you're not driving at all, and it's going to sit in your garage and die out. It's going to clog and then die out. The whole idea is to keep it running and grease it so that the operational system is always active. But there is always in your body, the aging sets, whatever you do, however healthy you might be, aging sets because the process of repair mechanisms die out slowly. And senescence builds in. So where these are called zombie cells, they are there, they neither grow nor contribute, they're just senescent. So it's very important that your cellular system removes this kind of a senescence process, cells that are senescent. And the repair mechanisms, because it dies out with time, you also bring the process of aging also gets faster. So the whole idea is how do you intervene with these systems and how do you improve it? So how do you have inhibitors or enhancers that improve your repair mechanisms, and how you remove senescent cells using senolytics and so on?
So the process of senescence, if I understand it though, helps us and prevents cells from becoming cancerous. So that is the kind of the body's natural defense mechanism against the aging and the shortening of the telomeres. So we need senescence, don't we? We need it to stop our cells getting cancerous.
Yes, absolutely. You can't live like a vampire all through, right? So the process of senescence is important. Like I said, the car battery dies down at some point of time. It's about healthy living, and during this process, you want the repair mechanisms to be effective enough to remove cells that are damaged, you know? So that is absolutely essential, but it cannot, the cycle just doesn't keep going on. So at some point you have to have these cells removed to avoid cancers.
Excellent. All right, thank you. Dr. Deepak, would you like to give some of your thoughts in terms of how we can manage, track the aging process or healthy living, maybe looking at WHOOP, sleep and recovery? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you for this question. Actually, being an Ironman, title holder of Ironman and Super Randonnier.
Excuse me, we have another Ironman here, and that's Sunil. He's a three-time Ironman.
Yeah,
so.
Very nice. Yeah, so Ironman is world's toughest one-day event. I did in Kazakhstan, and Super Randonnier, which one is cycling event. So my approach towards longevity is not perspective of science, but it's about human performance and resilience. So longevity is not about, for me, it's all about maintaining energy, cognitive clarity and all. So for me, if we look at the strong evidence across longevity research and population studies, a few patterns consistently emerge: metabolic health, sleep quality, movement and strength, and stress resilience. So yeah, this one is big subject, and we have to make this big for Indian society. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So what you're saying is that aging, you look at the factors you can control.
Yes.
Right? And through performance, health tracking, sleep tracking, and that helps you become a better Ironman.
You have to be selfish. If you want to live a longer, make yourself 120 years long life, so you have to be a selfish. You want to do what you want to make your life better. Yeah.
Thank you. So in terms of do we have a biological clock that kind of ends our life, or do you believe in as Dr. Deepak does in terms of changing your own lifespan? So how much of this is kind of predetermined by our own genes? Dr. Deepak?
Yeah, there are biological clocks which can be checked. There is a DNA methylation pattern, we have, and there are different generation of biological clocks. It is started somewhere around 2015, and that was the first generation biological clock, which actually tell that how old your cells are. It may match with chronological age, may match. Then the second generation biological clock, they will tell you how much old you are. Let's compare, if you have a car and it's an odometer. So in odometer you can see how much car have already run. And then the third generation clock will tell you how much speed you are going currently. That is the current speed. So if you see the biological clocks which are currently used, I believe the third generation are more advanced in terms of DNA methylation pattern. because they are also checking how much rapidly or how much slowly you are progressing. So they are having certain kind of numbers. Let's say a number of 1 means your age is same as your biological age. If it is 1.2, you are aging 20 times faster.
Do you believe in kind of looking at these genetic panels which tells you how predisposed you are to certain aging conditions? Is this something you've done yourself or you recommend for other people?
I say that it is alone, it may not be true. But if we merge other panels, like if we measure the inflammation status of the body, if we measure the cortisol level, if we correlate all these together, it may be one of the good indicator. But alone it may not be correct.
So you're saying in terms of understanding your biological age, you need a multi-pronged approach to kind of understand what's going on in the body. Don't just rely on a genetic panel to tell you where you are.
Yeah, because genetics is just 20% which is contributing to aging. There are other factors like lifestyle, age, exercise. There are many things. But if we have to see, there is something called hormesis in our body. We have to see a kind of basal level inflammation. We recently, last week, one study was published from US, from Indiana. It shows that hustlers, those are the people who are toxic. And if those people are present in your life, you might become 9 months older compared to the other population. So hustler theory is currently being in news these days. So this is one of the things which already we know. And there is something called, we can learn from different books which is already published. Ikigai is one of the famous books which can tell the different stories about the healthy aging. So I will say that DNA methylation is not alone sufficient enough to tell that you are aging in this, because probably few years back one of the scientists purchased 4 different company kits to check the methylation pattern. He was 57-year-old and the result what he got is 40 to 65, and he repeated that experiment twice and the same company failed to duplicate the same thing. So that is not alone sufficient enough.
Okay, just on that point, I'm going to segue into Ikigai, all right, and this is Japanese philosophy. Now, where's Akshay? Can you tell us about this Japanese philosophy? You've read the book, right? Can we get a mic into Akshay? Can you explain to our audience the Japanese philosophy of Ikigai?
Yeah, so of course, nutrition, movement are these lifestyle thing, but there is also a sense of community which is a major contributor and a purpose in life. So there are 5 major factors which contributes to longer life. Also the good, being close to nature.
Being close to nature, but interestingly, the Ikigai thing so much is about having purpose and meaning in your life into old age. So see, Cyril, my dad did give me some good advice, right? Hopefully I'll live long from my dad's inadvertent Ikigai philosophy. Gayatri, alongside some of these kind of interventions and medicines that people are looking at, like rapamycin and other things, and there's more medicines that maybe have anti-aging effects, whether it's in terms of the inflammation or looking at the sustainability of the telomere, the genetic sequence at the end, which kind of governs cell cycle death. What else can we do that's either available in the market in terms of medication and or supplements that we can be looking at that may support our kind of anti-aging longevity agenda?
Okay. So there are supplements, energy boosters like NAD+, and these help in overall metabolic health. So they help in mitochondrial health and biogenesis. Metformin, that has been used for multiple years. So essentially these have been tested also in longevity studies, and they don't just help in terms of improving insulin sensitivity, but they are also known to activate downstream pathways like AMPK. So AMPK plays a very important role in catabolic processes. So so anabolic, actually you inhibit it so that you drive the catabolic processes and shift the system from growth, like one of them said, into breakdown, fatty acid breakdown and so on. So metformin has been looked into those angles. Then senolytics is something that I spoke about. You also have epigenetic inhibitors. So Epigenetic changes is something that sets in normally as a process of aging. So there are parts of DNA that become completely silent. There's no formation of, there's no transcription and translation happening. So there are multiple enzymes in your body that are present that are able to read, write, and erase these signatures. So you have HDACs. There are inhibitors of HDACs and non-HDACs like sirtuins that play a very important role in reading this information. So there are inhibitors and modulators that are available that can change the way your genetic information is read, regions that have become silent. mTOR is one thing, rapamycin that we spoke about. You also have factors that help in reversing your fate of the cells. So essentially the cells, their destined fates, they've become skin or specific cell fates have achieved. So you can reverse them partially, not completely into a pluripotent state, but you're refreshing them into a stage that is pretty much early. So all the repair issues that have happened, right, you have kind of reversed them. So these are some of the examples. I think I covered most of them.
Thank you. Now, obviously, we're in India, and we've got Japanese philosophies, but we're not short of a few philosophies in India. All right. And so, does anybody want to share a philosophy or an approach from Ayurveda or other? And we've got, is it the land of grandmothers with, supplements and ideas on how to live long? There's no shortage of advice from the grandmothers in this country. Does anybody want to share some of their favorite remedies or spiritual philosophies which are Indian-based in terms of anti-aging and longevity, please?
Actually, I would not talk more about longevity.
Just hold it a bit nearer your mouth.
I would not be talking more about longevity because of Ayurveda or spirituality. Spirituality does make a difference. Meditation does increase your longevity. But I would talk about running. Now running, if you run 1 hour, it adds 7 hours to your life. And this is proven and it is analysis driven. And I'm sure the Iron Man would be confirming the same.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have an observation around kind of running? Obviously very good, can extend your life. Does anybody have any kind of Indian-based philosophical perspectives on this? I'll come back to you. So give that a thought. Oh, yeah.
Hi. So is there any study based around the philosophy of Kaya-Kalp in Ayurveda, which is basically the concept for total rejuvenation and build-up of the aging process and transferring the aged person into a young person. Not actually physical age, but the body condition is transferred to a younger version. So there are many people who do carry this knowledge of Kaya-Kalp. Yeah. So typically Kerala Ayurvedic or some very hardcore Ayurvedic people still do carry the knowledge of Kaya-Kalp. So any study done around it?
I'll come back to that point to the panel in a moment. Any other, yes please, any other observations on an ancient Indian philosophies that we all know, that we can share?
Good morning everyone, this is Dr. Leena. I would like to share about the long living aspect with the very good aspect of applause. Do clap. Just daily 7 to 10 minutes applause, clapping. It's absolutely the mental exercise, physical exercise, astral body, to remove all the negative energy blocks from the aura. So if I relate to the religious and the spiritual aspects, yeah, definitely. It's about Dun. We are all used to listen Dun, Ram Dun, all. This is the science behind. I would quickly cover.
You've given me a great idea right now. My mom, I don't know if you go to some of the small parks of Ahmedabad, but there's a great fashion and a trend for laughing clubs, right?
That's all about laughing and clapping.
And my mom used to go to the laughing club, so we're going to try this out right now. All right, we're all going to live longer and happier by doing a laughing club experience. So we all have to stand up. Everybody stand up. Everybody stand up. Mum, help my mum up. She's very good at this. All right, we're going to give one great big laugh.
Thank you.
We're going to do a live anti-aging experiment right now. Now everybody has to give a great big laugh, and we're all going to live young. We're going to live longer and be younger. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Right, good. We can sit back down again. Yeah, one over here.
So, as you talked about, as you talked about that, I have to ask the question regarding the ancient Indian philosophy. So I would like to ask, and anybody can answer that question. My question is that ancient Indian philosophy is about meditation as well, and I think the meditation is all about that emotional stability which we all need, I believe. So my question is that as you're talking about living 120 years, then is it possible that we will have that superhuman emotional stability if we are going to live up to 150 years or 120 years? We will have that super intelligent emotional stability at that time when we will be at 115 years old, if we ever live that.
Thank you. So I'm going to allow Dr. 𝗿𝗁 to come in now, and I want you to tell us about some of the work you do in terms of longevity, in terms of your programs, and then answer these, a natural for you to kind of answer both of these questions on Ayurveda and meditation. So please tell us about your work.
Can I just answer?
Please do.
Meditation is actually for knowing ourselves better and using meditation as a tool to change as we age. As many times we realize that nature or life is asking us to change in a particular way and we are resisting it. Meditation in fact helps us to accelerate this change in our lives, and when we are able to change with the times, as they say, we are more emotionally stable. And meditation, spirituality is a very, very important aspect of longevity. In fact, it is now very clearly documented that spiritual people have a more stable, maybe even longer life than people who don't have a spiritual base at all. So yes, it would be great for everyone to have a meditation practice. And coming to what we do, our programs in terms of longevity is not something that is meant to displace traditional medicine or even ancient medicine. It is just enabling people to understand where the diseases are stemming from, because generally when people go to doctors, all they care is they want to get rid of their symptoms and they don't want pain, or they don't want that, they want to reverse diabetes, they want to reverse, say, fatty liver, they want to reverse autoimmune. But yeah, the medicines will help you in terms of getting your numbers down, your blood reports better. But where is all this coming from? So our programs actually help you to understand your body better. And secondly, the therapies, they get you closer to who you are in terms of understanding your own biology and making sure that you're not doing things that are too far away from who you are in terms of physically as well as mentally, because there is so much overwhelm because of, say, social media or people advising you. But the most important thing is understanding who you are and working towards that, not against it. So enabling your mind and your body to function for you rather than against you is what we want to enable people. And we've seen I think there hasn't been a single person who's not felt better, forget about just the reports, who's not felt better, who doesn't feel more like themselves, who doesn't want to live 100 years. The main thing is, it's not about living to 100, but living in such a way that at least you want to live till 100, right? So
quality of life is what you're saying.
The quality of life.
Quality, not quantity.
Not quantity.
All right, okay.
So
now,
that's what we focus on.
That's what you focus on. Now, anti-aging and longevity, there's a lot of interesting science happening, a lot of interesting research. and we're learning huge amounts about the human body and how we age at the moment. But what's really going on in the world right now is this is a big business. And whether you're a tech entrepreneur or, as Sunil says, you like your limbu pani, there's a lot of knowledge coming out there. And there's a lot of wellness and anti-aging centers coming out. I think you're tied up with you're partnered with a Swiss organization. Can you tell us a little bit about what's happening in terms of the business of anti-aging globally? And I'm seeing centers spring up across the world, in Australia and the USA. People are going to specialist long-living clubs, and they're giving them all the information, the tracking, the data, and support in order how to live long. It's become a real phenomena.
You've seen centers all over the world, but have you seen centers popping up in Ahmedabad?
I have not been there yet, no.
No, because in terms of the city, Gujarat maybe, or even in terms of India, people are really slow to adapt newer technologies. They want to see, try it, test it. They want to see 100-year data before they even pop something and take it in. So in terms of India, if you're looking for an ROI, longevity honestly is not the place to be in or do a business in. Medical, maybe pharmaceutical is something that will immediately give you returns, but longevity is not the place to be. In terms of India, US, it's definitely a very, very big business, Australia, everywhere. I've been very fortunate enough to not see my longevity passion as something that is generating an ROI for me. Luckily, because my ROI is well set in other places. So this is something that I'm never going to confuse it with something that is giving my daily bread and butter. And that is why I'm able to do it with so much passion and so much authenticity.
Well, I think I'm not surprised to hear that. I mean, we've got such a long tradition of passing down know-how through the grandmother traditions of how to live long, how to live healthy. So I'm not surprised. There's still a bit of work to do to convince people about these anti-aging and longevity clinics. I'd like to bring Hitesh into the conversation now. And obviously there's a lot of investment, energy, understanding going into AI and digitization. So how does that interface in terms of the human body? Can we, Hitesh, digitize and understand the human body as a digital system and start to intervene and get us to live longer? Digital therapeutics?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think AI is like electricity. It's purveying through all of science right now, and I guess life overall. I think it's interesting that AI actually in biotech originally started with drug repurposing, actually finding new indications for assets that already existed, originally with generic assets and finding new indications. But now AI is coming into a lot of aspects of longevity in terms of finding new targets for senolytics, which is the zombie cells. It's coming into chemistry design, for generative design. It's coming into understanding the epigenetic clock and different aspects of it. So it's purveying across even digital therapeutics, as we just talked about, which, if you don't know, digital therapeutic is essentially a digital version of a drug. You say, well, how can you have a digital version of a drug that has the same clinical effect? Well, that's a digital therapeutics, and there are actually quite a few digital therapeutics that are launched. And essentially what it is, if you think of it in its simplest form, if I'm about to go to the fridge and get a samosa out from yesterday, somebody rings me and distracts me from the fridge, and I don't eat that samosa, that is effectively a digital therapeutic. Because I've stopped eating that, and if I go and weigh myself the following day, that samosa isn't in me and I've lost weight.
I don't think there's any digital therapeutic that will stop you and get between you and your samosas anyway.
Exactly.
But can you just also explain that in the human body, there's a lot, essentially we're governed by signals, aren't we? Electronic signals?
Yeah, so one of the areas that people are looking at is signatures. So we think of the body I guess in biotech as single biological targets, GLP-1, PI3K, all these biological targets. But actually, I think the biology is a lot more complicated, as Gayatri will tell you, than we realize. And actually, it's it's actually a signature, a bunch of genes going up and down, and people are trying to understand the orchestration of those genes using machine learning to understand what are the genes that go up and down, and then how can molecules affect in a much more, they already probably do it, we don't really understand it, in a pleiotropic way, how they affect all the genes that go up and down. And just going back to Ayurvedic medicine, I think it's really interesting. I'm a big fan of nature's medicine. I think actually nature's medicine is way ahead of Western medicine, and I'm a chemist by training, by the way. It's interesting, I don't know if you know, but my mum always tells me my Kerala Nusak, which is bitter melon. Interestingly, it's proven that bitter Kerala Nusak increases GLP-1. And so that's why it's one of the things. Another example is curcumin or turmeric. Turmeric with pepper is actually a combination drug because pepper allows curcumin to be absorbed in the gut. And that is also an anti-inflammatory, which is one of the institutes of inflammation. So eat your hardar and pepper and your Kerala Nusak and you'll live longer.
Now that... Put your hand up. Thank you. Put your hand up if your family and your dad or your grandparents or anybody else tells you to put hardar is good anti-cancer and health properties. Who's been told this in an Indian family? Almost, I would have thought a lot of you. Okay, all right. I got that same advice as well from my dad.
Well, there you go. This is it, you see. Follow it.
I don't know where he got his research from, but he was absolutely convinced.
Empirical observation, mate. Empirical observation. People have left longer.
That turmeric was the best for anti-aging and anti-cancer.
It is the best drug for anti-aging.
And I think it's actually being proven now.
Yeah, it's anti-inflammatory. Curcumin, people have extracted the inflammation. It's pleiotropic anti-inflammatory.
There you go. Curry is good for long health. All right. Cyril, back to you. I know you've got a completely unique perspective on this. So I've had a good chat with Cyril. Now, he's pretty convinced that science is going to make us live longer. Our devices, going to wellness centers. He thinks it's a done deal. He's worried about it from a different perspective, which is...
So, I mean, now imagine if you're going to live longer, you'll be expected to work longer. And if you're expected to work longer, that means what happens to all our pension plans, what happens to our retirement age, and the costs are only going to go up, right? And who's going to incur those costs? It's the younger generation. So as much as they talk about Japan as having one of the world's longest lives, Japan also has the highest number of young people committing suicides because they're so... It's because, what I feel is that we need to overcome our fear of death. Because if you're going to look at longevity from a perspective that we are going to die early or die late, then we are only prolonging death. But we have to be happy however long we live. It doesn't matter if you live 10 years or you live 120 years. As long as you've had a happy, blissful life and you've lived to your live your life to the fullest. Whatever you do, give it your 100% in that moment. And don't be so mesmerized by numbers. Don't be so fearful that, I had an incomplete... I'm a Hindu, so I have my reincarnation. So I'll be born again. And I'll be born again and again till I get moksha. So we are living in an endless time-space continuum where time is just another mathematical construct, and we shouldn't just confine ourselves to mathematics because there's a lot more than mathematics to life. So we should not fear, just be content with whatever you have, however long you live, however short you live, it shouldn't matter. You should just be in your element at all times and without fear, have no fear of death. Why should you fear death? I mean, you are born, you're going to die. I mean, it's an evolution of life. And death is just another evolution. And do we really die? I mean, there is a lot of studies that have been going on in meta consciousness, and You know, in consciousness, everything is alive forever. So why should we restrict ourselves to numbers?
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you. Reincarnation, the ultimate anti-aging. The ultimate anti-aging treatment. I don't think anybody go to a doctor and say, I want to live long. Just go to India, believe in reincarnation. India always has the best philosophies for these things, right? Reincarnation. Back to Riddhi. Riddhi, do you believe in this? It's about the quality of life. And do you believe in reincarnation?
I do believe in reincarnation, and I do believe in quality of life. Why? Because I do not want to live 100 years, but each moment that I live, I want to be really honest with myself. I want to live it to the fullest, and I don't want God to say, oh, what you did down there. And I want to say, I kick all the S's I could precisely. So I was not sitting on my butt. I was actually working my butt off, precisely, yeah.
Absolutely. Now, thank you. So we've got another opportunity to go back into the audience. We've got a really fascinating panel here, and they've got a lot of experience. Any questions, observations, or comments from person? Anything? Puggy, be ready with your next comments. We'll do a quick fire round.
I just want to request you, do you think so there are some medicine which we can take regularly for anti-aging, whether it is from Ayurveda or it's for antibiotic, for example, tripla or omega? Do you think so? Do you give us more options so that we can, you know, without keep eating, we can get this medicine and, you know, maintain our health?
Anyone want to give a suggestion? Yeah, please.
So I will say that as of now, how much increase in your year, maybe if you stop smoking, you add 10 years in your life. If someone is smoking, if someone is sleeping for 8 hours, sound sleep, increase 7 years of your life. So as of now, the best things are still sleeping, removing smoking from your, and healthy diets, which are Mediterranean diet. So as of now, these are the proven things. There is no drug as of now which can increase life as of now.
All right.
May I add to it? So Pragnesh, I think firstly don't take any medicines as much as possible. I agree with most of them. It's about healthy mind and healthy body. And our grandmothers and grandfathers used to do that, you know. They used to practice mindfulness, meditate. They used to do this intermittent fasting, I don't know, 𝗟𝗏𝗃𝗃 and all these things, right? And also for Ganesh Chaturthi, they used to do these squats. Do you remember? How many times? 100 times. So these traditional practices, they activate processes, your cellular processes, which are very similar to what the drugs are doing. So both the processes are very similar. So as much as possible, prevention is the first thing. And like Cyril said, don't get caught up by numbers, you know, they're just numbers. Because you get bogged down looking at, you know, what's my resting state, what's my BMI, and it's about healthy mind. And incorporating all those traditional practices. Of course, there are debilitating disorders for which you need to bring in intervention. You know, that's why you bring in drugs, or it's gone to an acute phase where it is reversible, and then you moderately treat and combine it with exercise and intermittent fasting and healthy thinking and these things. That's what I would suggest.
Thank you.
Yeah, just I'm going to help you live longer. Very, very simple. Scientifically, there's something called the Harvard study, which started in 1945. It's, to study longevity, you have to study it for longer. So this is one of the longest clinical trials that's ever existed. It started in 1945. It's still ongoing. It's had 4 PIs over it, and they studied what makes people live longer. And they studied glucose. They studied everything you can measure since 1945 that was always possible or then became possible. And the #1 thing that they found that increases life is social interaction. So social interaction is the key. #1, not glucose, not GLP-1, social interaction. So my advice to you is go out, meet people, talk to people, and India does that really well. So again, India's discovered this empirically, that you can live longer by talking to people.
Fascinating, absolutely fascinating. Thank you. Now, I want to bring in Sunil, who's an intermittent faster and has been very early in on this trend about 15 years ago. Can we get a mic over to Sunil? Can you just explain to us the science of fasting and how you do it? Because I need to eat. I can't fast. I know this is a long tradition, another Indian tradition, fasting as well, right?
Yeah, I read there was a scientist in the UK, a medic called Dr. Moseley.
Just a bit mic closer.
There was a scientist in the UK. His name is Dr. Moseley, and he actually died recently. But he discovered this intermittent fasting, and he made it into a sort of regime that anyone could follow. And the idea behind it would reduce the particular enzyme involved in one of the oncolytic pathways. I think it's acetylcholinesterase A or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I've got biologists.
Indians call it egg tunnel.
Yeah. So basically, the idea of the fast is they've tried to incorporate it into a lifestyle. So you say you can't fast all the time, and Indians we've been fasting for ages here anyway. We have like Gurudwara and all these other fasting days, but actually the science shows it's very good for you. But how do you sort of incorporate that into your lifestyle? So he came up with this, like, you fast, you don't fully fast, but you basically eat much less 2 days a week. So I used to do a Monday and Thursday, and Monday is good because I've eaten too much at the weekend. I partied too much on Saturday and Sunday and Friday. And Monday, okay, I'm feeling a bit full. So anyway, I'd then miss out breakfast, miss out lunch. And the idea is if you're a woman, you would eat something like 400 calories a day. And if you're a man, you'd have 600 calories a day. So it's quite aggressive. But then on the other days, you can eat what you want. So Tuesday, Wednesday, you would eat what you want. Back to Thursday, you do your fasting day, and then you're good to party all weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So that's the idea of intermittent fasting. They showed they had a lot of other health benefits of that. Reduction in oncology, cardiovascular diseases, etc. So there's lots of health benefits that come on the back of that, and there's lots of reasons why, I think Gayatri and I were talking on the tea break around, when we were cavemen, we didn't just eat every day. We went through long periods of starvation. And then actually what I found is on my fasting days, I do Ironman training. So on my fasting days, I would actually run faster than I would do on my other days. And if you look at that scientifically, on the days you're really hungry and you're trying to hunt the, animal or something on those days, obviously not in Gujarat, we don't hunt animals in Gujarat, but we will hunt the plant. But in the caveman days, you would have to eat somehow, so you have to catch the deer or something. But you need to be faster and quicker, even when you're hungry, otherwise you're not going to eat. So that inherently, the science is that we are going to be faster, our metabolism is going to be working on overtime, and we can actually have a higher level of performance on our fasting days. And that's why I found myself, I will get my best run times in the gym on my fasting days. So that's the science behind it.
Thank you. So another Indian tradition. What was the name of that tradition where the women are meant to kind of fast for a good husband? What's that? Gurjot, right? Yeah? Well, I think the guy should be doing that as well. Frankly, I think it's a very sexist tradition. But we should extend that tradition to men and women, not only fasting to find good partners in their lives, but not only can you then have a happy husband or wife, but now you can live longer with intermittent fasting. So that's another good Indian tradition which we should probably modify for healthy living. All right, great. We've just about reached the end of this. Does anybody have a burning question for the panel who hasn't spoken? Yeah, we've got some hands up here. Rajesh hasn't come. One over here and then one over here.
I just want to answer his question about the 𝗪𝗃. I'm basically from Kerala. So it's a combination therapy of all we talk about spirituality, some herbs used for detoxification, and a kind of hypnotherapy. You should believe in the treatment you are doing. All this combined and give the therapy as a medication. So this is known as 𝗪𝗃 in Malayalam. And another question I have is about the epigenetic modification we already discussed. So there are many factors.
You got to give one question only. You can't give 3 questions.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is the last question. So there are many factors which is behind the epigenetic modifications, like the water we drink, air we breathe, and the food we eat. And Hitesh mentioned about the toxic people. And if you breathe properly, if eat properly, and we have good colleagues with no toxicity in their mind, then we are going to beat the aging, definitely. Thank you.
All right, thank you. The bell is going to go crazy right now, so just wait for the bell. I just want to take that one. You've got, give me your question in 20 seconds if you can. There's one person here. Where is it over here? I don't want to give you a chance. Do you want to give your question in 20 seconds or your comment? Just get a mic here and one down here, and we'll let the panel reply if they want to as a group of questions.
Hello, so my name is Adit and my question is to Dr. Hemant and Gayatri. So I wanted to ask that are there any genetic editing techniques which can help in reversing your age, or are any gene editing techniques which can be employed before your birth to change your epigenetic imprints so that you can live longer, or are they going to be there in future?
Thank you. And then to Akshay, his question here. Last one, and then we'll allow the panel to respond quickly.
Yeah, so firstly, while I agree with Cyril's concept of let us accept the death, but while we are living, I would like to, as a tech entrepreneur, I would like to understand which are the gold standard blood biomarkers which can be a real measure to understand the biological clock or epigenetic clock that we're talking about. All right, so we're at the end of this. I'm going to give each of you to give your closing comment really, really briefly, because we're right on the stroke of lunch. And if you want to kind of integrate your closing comment in response to the questions, you feel free to do so. So we'll start with you, Dr. Deepak.
So let me try to answer all these in single things. If we see, in case of aging, as of now, damage is continuous process. It is happening in this direction. So, and there are some episodes which are cyclic in nature. So most of the therapeutic approach, treatment are only working in this, upregulating up and down. There is no method to prevent damage as of now, first thing. Second thing is, you ask the different biomarkers. I will say that basic LDL, HbA1c, cholesterol, CRP, if these are in control, sugar is in control, and your body weight is within range, these will give you sufficient idea about your health. Second thing is, if you are somewhere around 45 to 50, the simplest test will be your grip strength. How firmly you hold something, your muscle mass, whether you have sufficient muscle mass to hold. That grip strength individually can give you much more idea. And someone asked some genetic technique. So still there are some ways to modify and reprogram the cells. There are some Yamanaka factors which can be incorporated, but still not at the level of clinical translation.
Thank you.
Yeah,
that's perfect. We're getting close to lunch, so closing comments very briefly. Thank you.
The question is regarding diet, right? So this is the same place where we got engaged and married. So my wife always tells me that if you want to live to 100 years with energy, so plate per colorful plates आपकी colorful होनी चाहिए. So like greens, grains, seeds and fruits. So that's why it's very important कि आप real food, if you want to take real food, that is very important for your upcoming and great life.
Yeah, and yellow for turmeric and live long, right?
Yeah, and Karela no sak.
Yeah, so as I said, the scientific approaches to longevity. I think AI approaches to longevity. I think AI finding old ideas from different cultures and finding a scientific explanation of something that we already know, like Karela Nusak, is the way forward. And also, obviously, after this, we're going to have a tea break. So social interaction is also going to increase your longevity. So I think we're fine.
Yeah, two quick comments. First thing, although it sounds very simple, don't seek comfort. You know, you need to stress your system a little, you know, in a moderate way, be it exercise, exercising your brain or your body. That's how you build resilience. And the second thing is add life to your years, not years to your life.
Wow, beautiful.
I would like to say that, you know, just don't have anxiety. You know, don't worry about the future. Don't worry about the past. You know, I mean, You know, like earlier we used to think about creating a bigger bank balance, and we are thinking about how big our bank balance is, and now we are looking at how long we are going to live, and we are using the same logic that the more we do, the more we live. But it's not always like that. You know, the beauty of life is that it's unexpected, and be resilient to unexpectations, and you know, don't use the logic that if I have done A plus B equals C, it's not always A plus or 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. Sometimes 1 and 1 becomes 11, and 2 minus 3 becomes 7, whatever, you know. So don't be mesmerized by numbers. Don't worry about the future. Just be in the moment. Enjoy your life. Be content. Be grateful in life. Appreciate what you have, and just be happy, you know. And happiness is the best form of meditation. And sleep well, eat well, you know. Don't compromise on 3 things. 1 is good sleep, 2nd is good food, and 3rd is don't compromise on taking a shower and all. You know, just set your own routine, live your life on your own terms, and you'll be happy. And end of the day, what you're going to leave behind is memories, and memories live forever. I mean, we've seen all our ancient traditions, all the priests, we've seen leaders, political leaders, we've seen philosophical leaders, they all leave behind memories, and memories live forever.
Thank you, Cyril. That was brilliant. To have gratitude and to live in the present, I take that away from your thoughts. Dr. 𝗟𝗃?
Yes, all of this is great. I think it is in terms of our ancient traditions and everything, but what we are seeing today is, especially because I have young children, and luckily it was necessary to test them in terms of their deficiencies for their admission, and there were like 60 kids who tested with us in terms of vitamin D, vitamin B12, and I would say 80% were deficient. And they were eating all the right food, including eggs, veggies, and all of it. So their parents were literally shocked why this is happening. Because we have systematically depleted our soil, we've systematically depleted our water resources, because today magnesium is a hot-selling supplement only and only because our water doesn't have it. The magnesium was supposed to be there in the water. So for my parents, for my grandparents, they are set, like they don't need anything because their bodies are built of very nutritious food since they were children. But when it comes to the next generation, I think we need to be a little more careful because of what we've done to our environment as well. So I think that we just need to be a little more aware about these things as well today.
Brilliant. Look, thank you so much. And I'm going to give you a closing thought, which is, I think the Gujaratis have a perfect expression for anti-aging, living happy, living long, living in the present, having gratitude. And the line is, Khao, piyo ane, maza karo. All right. And on that note, we'll have lunch. We'll see you back in an hour. Thank you to our panelists. They were absolutely amazing. Thank you.